Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu. These days, I'm reading the Mahāparinibbānasutta. I just finished reading today. Have you read the Mahāparinibbānasutta? Anybody? The entire sutta from the Digha Nikaya. I'm trying to find that sutta, at least to share the last part of the sutta, maybe. Or do you like to go with me to find the sutta? Before we go into the main topic of today's class, let's see some of the very interesting accounts of the great passing away of the fully enlightened Buddha. So we go to suttacentral.net and we go to the basket of discourses and then collections of long discourses and the long discourses collection. And it is in the great chapter, the second one, Mahāvagga. This is the great discourse on the Buddha's extinguishment, Mahāparinibbānasutta. So we go all the way to the end of the sutta. It's a long sutta. That's how you go. Okay, so let's learn some important and beautiful things about the great passing away of the Buddha, attaining to final Nibbana. Who is like, read.
I think I can. May
Okay.
I? And the pair of salt trees?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The pair of salt trees. Then the Buddha said to Ananda, "Come, Ananda, let's go to the far shore of the Golden River and on to the salt forest of the Malyas at Upavatana near Kusinara. Yes, sir, Ananda replied, and that's where they went. Then the Buddha addressed Ananda. Please, Ananda, set up a cut for me between the twin salt trees. With my head to the north, I'm tired and will lie down. Yes, sir, replied Ananda, and did as he was asked. And then the Buddha laid down in the lion's posture, on the right side, placing one foot on the top of the other, mindful and aware.
And okay, so let me add something here. So every other place throughout the 18,000 discourses of the Buddha, there is another sentence here. Buddha laid down in the lion's posture on the right side, placing one foot on top of the other, mindful and aware, with the intention of waking up. So you see, this is the last resting of the Buddha. So there is no intention of waking up again. So that's why you don't see that phrase here. This is the last laying down, and Buddha is never going to wake up again. never going to stand up. And so this is the last resting of the Buddha. That's very very special.
Okay, continue.
Mhm.
Okay. All right. Now, at the time, the twin salt trees were in full blossom with flowers out of season. They sprinkled and bestrode the realized one's body in honor of the realized one. And the flowers of the heavenly flame tree fell from the sky. And they too sprinkled and bestrode the realized one's body in honor of the realized one. And heavenly sandalwood powder fell from the sky. And it too sprinkled and bestrode the realized one's body in honor of the realized one. And heavenly music played in the sky in honor of the realized one. And heavenly choirs sang in the sky in honor of the realized one. Then the Buddha pointed out to Ananda what was happening, adding, "That's not how the realized one is honored, respected, revered, venerated, and esteemed. Any monk or nun or male or female lay follower who practices in line with the teachings, practicing properly, living in line with the teachings, they honor, respect, revere, venerate, and esteem the realized one with the highest honor. So Ananda, you should train like this. We shall practice in line with the teachings, practicing properly, living in line with the teaching."
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Did you see the Buddha's message to the world?
Yes. Yes, Bante.
And you see how the Arahant quality is expressed here. Buddha didn't need any honor, any gain, any gifts from the world. Instead, the best way to venerate the Buddha is through the practice. That's a very powerful thing, and it's coming from fully enlightened Buddha with a liberated heart, liberated mind, and there is no attachment for any gift, any honor, anything, any worldly gains. There is no desire for such things. It's just the limitless compassion which Buddha always had. So the only wish that the more and more humans and devas would practice this path and achieve the end of suffering. That was the only wish.
Bante, question.
Mhm.
So when we went to Sri Lanka, the tour guide showed us the statue of Buddha when he was laying down with one foot on top of the other. Now, he said that if the 2 feet are in line, so that means Buddha went into Nibbana. But if the 2 feet are not in line, say one is laying stretched more than the other.
No, I
then that
think
means
it's
sleeping.
always.
Is it true?
How was it here?
The description in the
No, here
scriptures,
also on the right side, placing one foot on top of the other.
But he
No,
said
it doesn't say. It
he
just
didn't say.
just need to check Pali. That's a good question, though.
Yeah, he said if it's in line, then that means Nibbana. But if it's not, sleeping only.
It's here.
Mhm.
This is the
Pali.
Atako bhagava dakhinene passene sihaseyan kappesi pade padang achadaya sato sampajano. Yeah, I think you are right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Should be in line. Should be in line.
yeah. So, but in other places, it's mentioned that one leg was a little bit moved when Buddha was laying down. But here it says doesn't. It's not mentioned here. Yeah, that's a very very special
Mm.
thing, right?
Sir,
Mm-hmm.
in Kushinagar, that the last laying down is in a statue, right?
Yes.
Where we went,
Mm-hmm.
Swaminathan we went.
Yes.
The Swaminathan, there the toes were not aligned, no, Swaminathan. Because I
Yeah,
have
no, it's not about chores. It's the
toes. It's
yeah.
about
I will show you the comparison between the two paragraphs. I'll show later.
yes.
So it will be very clear. It's not about chores. It's just overlapping one leg. And next, okay, here. So now Ananda Bhante asks few questions at the last moment. Who is going to read? Anybody likes to read?
Bhante, I can read.
Okay.
Previously, sir, when Mendicants had completed the rainy season residence in various districts, they came to see the realized one. We got to see the esteemed Mendicants and pay homage to them. But when the Buddha has passed, we won't get to see the esteemed Mendicants or to pay homage to them. Ananda, a faithful gentleman, should go to see these four inspiring places. What for? Thinking, here the realized one was born. That is an inspiring place. Thinking, here the realized one became awakened as a supreme, fully and awakened Buddha. That is an inspiring place. Thinking, here the supreme wheel of Dhamma was rolled forth by the realized one. That is an inspiring place. Thinking, here the realized one became fully extinguished through the natural principle of extinguishment without anything left over. That is an inspiring place. These are the four inspiring places that a faithful gentleman should go to see.
Sadhu, sadhu. If there is any human being on this earth who got the opportunity to go to all these four places and venerate these four places with a confident heart, they are very fortunate human beings. Is there any such human being here?
Yeah, Bhante, I have visited in India.
Okay, we have
Four
one
places.
human being, fortunate.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
We
Only
also
one,
have the opportunity, Bhante. So,
Okay, two human beings.
Budi and Wani also, Bhante.
Okay. So there are few, very fortunate group of people here. So yeah, first of all, I am so grateful to my teacher, Lokaswaminathan, and because of Lokaswaminathan's compassion, I got to visit those holy places. Okay, so where are those places? So here the realized one was born. Here the Buddha was born. What is that place now?
Oh, it's in Nepal, Lumbini
Present day
Garden.
in Nepal, but it was originally a part of India.
Mhm.
So now it's in Nepal. You have to go to Nepal,
Nepal.
and that's the birthplace of the Buddha. Lumbini, right?
Yeah, Lumbini
The
Garden.
garden, Lumbini Garden. And where is the second place? The Buddha attained full enlightenment?
Bodh Gaya.
That is in India.
Yeah.
In the Bihar state, the Bodh Gaya. And the third place where the Buddha delivered his first sermon,
The
Dhammacakkappavattana
Deer Park.
Sutta.
Deer Park. Is it
Deer
Yeah, we call it the
Park.
Deer Park. Yeah.
Yeah, at
It's
Varanasi.
India.
In India, Varanasi.
Varanasi. Okay.
And the last one, where the Buddha attained final passing away,
Also in India, Kusinara.
Kushinagar?
Kushinagar in India. Those
Kusinagara.
are the 4 places, and it's very special. Like some people travel all over the world except these 4 places, right? So but now it's not a good time to visit those places. But as soon as the world is calm and peaceful and safe to travel, why don't you make a trip and plan for that, to visit the holy places before our life is ended. Such blissful places, holy places, very sacred sites, before they disappear, before the entire world loses them, because everything is impermanent, subject to change, and like some of those sacred sites are already lost, right? In some parts of the world, we don't have those sacred sites anymore. So before that happens, who knows? Some of other final moments. Oh, here the Ananda Bhante was lamenting. Another Kalyanamitta to read.
I can read, Bhante.
Okay, Rob.
Venerable Ananda entered a dwelling, or then Venerable Ananda and entered a dwelling and stood there leaning against the door jamb and crying, "Oh, I am still only a trainee with work left to do, and my teacher's about to become fully extinguished. He who is so kind to me." Then the Buddha said to the mendicants, "Where is Ananda?" "Sir, Ananda has entered a dwelling and stands there leaning against the door jamb and crying, 'Oh, I am still only a trainee with work left to do, and my teacher's about to become fully extinguished. He who is so kind to me." So the Buddha addressed a certain monk. "Please, monk, in my name, tell Ananda that the teacher summons him." "Yes, sir," that monk replied. He went to Ananda and said to him, "Reverend Ananda, the teacher summons you." "Yes, Reverend," Ananda replied. He went to the Buddha, bowed, and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him.
So here, remember, Ananda Bhante was not an ordinary monk. He was a Sotapanna, right? He already attained the first stage of enlightenment and has realized the mechanism of causes and condition, dependent on origination to some extent, and entered the Noble Eightfold Path. And yeah, he was a stream enterer, but still he was crying, and because he remembered the kindness of the Buddha, and he was there like the shadow of the Buddha, and remembering all the teachings. Let's see how the fully enlightened Buddha admonishes such a great disciple of the Buddha, a Buddha who is free of sadness, sorrow, and tears, is going to advise a wise disciple. Okay, continue.
Okay. Enough, Ananda. Do not grieve. Do not lament. Did I not prepare you for this when I explained that we must be parted and separated from all we hold dear and beloved? How could it possibly be so that what is born, created, conditioned, and liable to fall apart could not fall apart, even the realized one's body? For a long time, Ananda, you've treated the realized one with deeds of body, speech, and mind that are loving, beneficial, pleasant, wholehearted, and limitless. You have done good deeds, Ananda. Devote yourself to meditation and you will soon be free of defilements.
Sadhu, sadhu. So think about the advice of the Buddha, right? It was completely different from the advice of ordinary people, right? When somebody is sad and we like that our friends and relatives, our loved ones also sad with us and share the same feelings and, you know, some and consoling us. Or if we are happy when we cry, if others also cry with us, right? We think that they share our feelings and like that, but we don't understand that the wise people don't cry like that. They understand the impermanent nature of the world and everybody has to be separated from loved ones. And this is amazing wisdom of the Buddha. Even when a very close disciple, the chief attendant monk of the Buddha was crying, Buddha still wanted to teach him about the truth and teach him about the lesson of separation, about the nature of conditioned things. And so that's how the compassion is still expressed. Yeah, this is the information about the people of that area. First got to know about the passing away of the Buddha that was going to happen that night. Another Kalyanamitta to read.
I can read.
Bhante, I will read.
Okay, Barry.
Now at that time, the Mallas of Kusinara were sitting together at the meeting hall on some business. Ananda went up to them and announced, "This very day, Vasetas, in the last watch of the night, the realized one will become fully extinguished. Come forth, Vaseta, come forth, Vaseta. Don't regret it later thinking. The realized one became fully extinguished in our own village district, but we didn't get a chance to see him in his final hour." When they heard what Ananda had to say, the Mallas, their sons, daughters-in-law, and wives became distraught, saddened, and grief-stricken. And some, with hair disheveled and arms raised, falling down like their feet were chopped off, rolling back and forth, lamented. Too soon the Blessed One will become fully extinguished. Too soon the Holy One will become fully extinguished. Too soon the seer will vanish from the world. Then the Mallas, their sons, daughter-in-laws, and wives, distraught, saddened, and grief-stricken, went to the Malayan Salgrove at Upavatana and approached Ananda. Then Ananda thought, if I have the Mallas pay homage to the Buddha one by one, they won't be finished before first light. I'd better separate them family by family and then have them pay homage saying, "Sir, the Mala named so-and-so with children, wives, retinue, and ministers bows with his head at your feet. And so that's what he did.
So that's the last paying homage of the villages there of the Kusinara. This is also a beautiful incident that happened at the last moment. Would you like to continue, Barry?
Okay. On Subhada the Wanderer. Now at that time, a wanderer named Subhada was residing near Kusinara. He heard that on that very day, in the last watch of the night, the ascetic Gautama would become fully extinguished. He thought, I have heard that Brahmins of the past who were elderly and senior, the teachers of teachers said, only rarely do realized ones arise in the world, perfected ones, fully awakened Buddhas. And this very day, in the last watch of the night, the ascetic Gautama will become fully extinguished. This state of uncertainty has come up in me. I am quite confident that the Buddha is capable of teaching me so that I can give up this state of uncertainty. Then Subhada went to the Malayan Salgrove at Upavatana, approached Ananda and said to him, Master Ananda, I have heard that Brahmins of the past who were elderly and senior, the teachers of teachers said, only rarely do realized ones arise in the world, perfected ones, fully awakened Buddhas. And this very day, in the last watch of the night, the ascetic Gautama will become fully extinguished. This state of uncertainty has come up in me. I am quite confident that the Buddha is capable of teaching me so that I can give up this state of uncertainty. Master Ananda, please let me see the ascetic Gautama. When he had spoken, Ananda said, Enough, Reverend Subhada. Do not trouble the realized one. He is tired. For a second time and a third time, Subhada asked Ananda, and a third time, Ananda refused. The Buddha heard that discussion between Ananda and Subhada. He said to Ananda, Enough, Ananda. Don't obstruct Subhada. Let him see the realized one. For whatever he asks me, he will only be looking for understanding, not trouble. And he will quickly understand any answer I give to his question. So Ananda said to the wanderer, Subhada, Go, Reverend Subhada, the Buddha is taking the time for you. Then the wanderer, Subhada, went up to the Buddha and exchanged greetings with him. When the greetings and polite conversation were over, he sat down to one side and said to the Buddha, Master Gautama, there are those ascetics and Brahmins who lead an order and a community and teach a community. They're well-known and famous religious founders, regarded as holy by many people, namely Purana Kassapa, Makalai Gosala, Nigata Nataputta, Sanyaya Velatiputta, Pakuda Kachayana, and Ajita Kesa Kambala. According to their own claims, did all of them have direct knowledge, or none of them, or only some? Enough, Subhada, let that be. I shall teach you the Dhamma. Listen and pay close attention. I will speak. Yes, sir, Subhada replied. The Buddha said this, Subhada, in whatever teaching and training the Noble Eightfold Path is not found, there is no true ascetic found. No second ascetic, no third ascetic, and no fourth ascetic.
So you know those, the first ascetic means the stream enterer, second ascetic means the once returner, third ascetic means the non-returner, and the fourth ascetic means the liberated one, arahant.
In whatever teaching and training the Noble Eightfold Path is found, there is a true ascetic found, a second ascetic, a third ascetic, and a fourth ascetic. In this teaching and training, the Noble Eightfold Path is found. Only here is there a true ascetic, here a second ascetic, here a third ascetic, and here a fourth ascetic. Other sects are empty of ascetics. Were these mendicants to practice well, the world would not be empty of perfected ones. I was 29 years of age, Subhadra, when I went forth to discover what is skillful. It's been over 50 years since I went forth. I'm the only one who points out the proper teaching. Outside of here, there is no true ascetic. Were these mendicants to practice well, the world would not be empty of perfected ones. When he had spoken, Subhadra said to Buddha, "Excellent, sir, excellent." As if he were writing the overturned, or revealing the hidden, or pointing out the path to the lost, or lighting a lamp in the dark so people with good eyes can see what's there. The Buddha has made the teaching clear in many ways. I go for refuge to the Buddha, to the teaching, and to the mendicant Sangha. Sir, may I receive the going forth, the ordination in the Buddha's presence. Subhadra, if someone formerly ordained in another sect wishes to take the going forth, the ordination in this teaching and training, they must spend 4 months on probation. When 4 months have passed, if the mendicants are satisfied, they'll give the going forth, the ordination into monkhood. However, I have recognized individuals' indifferences in this matter. Sir, if 4 months probation are required in such a case, I'll spend 4 years on probation. When 4 years have passed, if the mendicants are satisfied, let them give me the going forth, the ordination into monkhood. Then the Buddha said to Ananda, "Well then, Ananda, give Subhadra the going forth." "Yes, sir," Ananda replied. Then Subhadra said to Ananda, "You are so fortunate, Reverend Ananda, so very fortunate, to be anointed here in the teacher's presence as his pupil." And the wanderer Subhadra received the going forth, the ordination in the Buddha's presence. Not long after his ordination, Venerable Subhadra, living alone, withdrawn, diligent, keen, and resolute, soon realized the supreme end of the spiritual path in this very life. He lived having achieved with his own insight the goal for which gentlemen rightly go forth from the lay life to homelessness. He understood, rebirth is ended, the spiritual journey has been completed. What had to be done has been done. There is no return to any state of existence. And Venerable Subhadra became one of the perfected. He was the last personal disciple of the Buddha.
Sadhu, sadhu. You see, the last moment he attained liberation and got the opportunity to be a disciple of the Buddha and attain arahantship when the Buddha was alive. So that was very special. He was the last person last monk to attain arahantship when Buddha was alive. And it happened in a very short period of time. He was so wise, and he was about to miss the opportunity, right? He didn't know anything, like he was not a follower of the Buddha. Just came the last moment and got that opportunity. Okay, so like that, that sutta continues with lots of descriptions, beautiful things, very insightful accounts. And so I encourage you to read the Mahāparinibbānasutta from the Digha Nikaya, and we just read a very small part of that sutta, and it is full of beautiful incidents and very important messages and advice of the Buddha. And the next part of this sutta is, as you can see here, the Buddha's last words, and like that it continues, the full extinguishment, what exactly happened when Buddha attained the final passing away. Because when we die, we are all going to be reborn. Like the ordinary death always is bound up with rebirth, next life. But Buddha's final passing away means that was his final body. That was his final life, and he didn't go to another life. That's the meaning of attaining final parinibbāna. That was his final life. It's very special, and also that's the passing away of an extraordinary being. So it's very, very important to learn how it happened and how the cremation happened and how the distribution of relics took place and how the world received relics of the Buddha, and even we stupas were built all over India and other countries all over Sri Lanka, and we also received some relics to here, the Toronto monastery, and we placed those relics inside the stupa here. So even the people who drive by and who feel some kind of energy radiating from the stupa, the people who come here always share that with us. So that's how sacred the stupas and with relics of the Buddha. So you can see how the relics were distributed towards the end of this sutta. So I just wanted to share that, at least some part of the sutta with you. I hope you learned some new things and your confidence in the enlightened ones grew. Any questions before we go to the...
So Bhante, is the 4-month probation still practiced now, or it was extended or to a year or 4 years?
It depends on the tradition, and each monastery organizations, they follow their own probation periods. Normally in our monastery, my teacher has advised about the probation period. It's probably 1 year to 2 years. So.
Just a question about the titles, Bhante. When Ananda was upset about, he was upset, and the Buddha sent a monk to see him, and the monk said, "Reverend Ananda, the teacher summons you." And then Ananda said, "Yes, Reverend." Ananda replied. So they both called each other Reverend, the same title, and yet I would have thought Ananda would have had a different title, being sort of a senior monk or something.
That's a very, very important question, and that was already what do you call addressed by the Buddha, that thing that you are talking about, and Buddha gave a very significant instruction on that, about addressing each other. I don't know if that thought just came to your mind or you had some memory of reading the sutta, but it's certainly it was addressed, and the instruction was that when Buddha was alive, the monks were addressing each other as kind of friends, like everybody in the same level, kind of. But just before the passing away of the Buddha instructed the monks, after my passing away, the junior monks should address the senior monks. You can read this in the same Mahāparinibbānasutta. So the junior monks should address the senior monks, saying Bhante, Venerable Sir. That's the kind of translation, Venerable Sir, or Bhante. And the senior monks should address the junior monks either by their name or saying Auso. Auso.
So this little exchange took place before
that instruction, right? Before that instruction.
I see.
So now we follow that instruction now we say to our senior monks, we address them saying Bante.
And Buddha
And
didn't
they
give
address
it.
us saying also.
Buddha didn't give that instruction until he was almost dying.
Yeah, that was the instruction just before his passing away.
And what's the significance of that? He waited his entire lifetime before giving his.
Yeah, I think of always there's a reason behind any advice given by the Buddha.
Interesting. Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah.